Family skipped my college graduation for my brother's Vegas bachelor party, then stuck me with the $4,000 bill. So I systematically destroyed their lives and now they're crawling back. This happened about a year ago, and I'm finally ready to tell the whole story. It's long, but trust me, it's worth reading to the end. TLDR at bottom. Before I get into this story, let me give you some context about who I am and how I ended up in this situation. I, 24 male, just graduated with a mechanical engineering degree from a state school. Worked my tail off for 4 years while juggling two part-time jobs, one at a campus auto shop and another doing weekend construction work. My family? Well, that's where it gets complicated. Dad. Mike is a mid-level manager at an insurance company. Makes decent money but acts like he's running a Fortune 500 company. Mom, Linda, hasn't worked since my sister was born and spends most of her time on Facebook and shopping with her book club friends. Then there's my older brother Derek, 27 male, who's always been the golden child. Played college baseball, poorly, graduated with a business degree he's never really used, and somehow landed a sales job at a car dealership where he makes okay money, but talks like he's closing million-dollar deals every day. My younger sister Ashley is 21 female, and, well, she's something else. Dropped out of community college after one semester, has been finding herself ever since, and has somehow convinced my parents that her lifestyle blog about crystals and astrology is going to make her rich someday. She drives a BMW my parents bought her and has never held a job for more than 3 weeks. Me? I'm the middle child who put himself through engineering school, pays his own bills, and apparently exists solely to bankroll everyone else's good times. Here's where my buddy Tony comes in. Tony's been my best friend since high school. We worked construction together summers during college, and he's the kind of guy who'll drive 300 miles just to help you move a couch. He's also probably the funniest person I know, which you'll see throughout this story. Tony calls my family the parasites, and has been telling me for years that I'm too nice to them. Bro, he'd say, your family treats you like a human ATM with legs. When's the last time any of them did something for you that didn't involve your wallet? I always defended them because, family. But Tony was right, and this story is about how I finally figured that out. So anyway, graduation day, May 14th. I'd worked incredibly hard for 4 years, maintained a 3.7 GPA while working 30-plus hours a week. This wasn't just some participation trophy. I'd actually accomplished something real. 2 weeks before graduation, Derek announced he was getting married to his girlfriend, Brittany. Brittany is... Look, I'm trying to be fair here, but she's basically everything wrong with Instagram culture wrapped up in one person. She's never had a job, but somehow always has money for designer purses. She posts 15 times a day about her blessed life and calls herself an entrepreneur because she sells weight loss shakes to her friends. The bachelor party was scheduled for Vegas the same weekend as my graduation. Same exact weekend. When I found out, I asked my parents, "So who's coming to my graduation?" Mom's response, "Oh, honey, we already booked the Vegas trip. Derek's bachelor party only happens once. You understand, right? We'll celebrate your graduation when we get back." Dad chimed in, "It's just a ceremony, son. We already know you graduated. Derek needs us there for his big weekend. Just a ceremony. 4 years of grinding, and it's just a ceremony." Tony was at my apartment when this conversation happened, on speakerphone. After I hung up, he just stared at me for like 10 seconds. "Dude," he said, "did your dad just say your college graduation is less important than your brother getting crazy in Vegas? I mean, bachelor parties are a big deal." "Graduation from engineering school is a bigger deal," Tony yelled, throwing a pillow at me. "You worked construction in 100-degree heat to pay for that degree? Derek's selling Honda Civics and acting like he's some business mogul?" Tony was right, but I didn't want to make waves. I never made waves. That was my thing. Keep the peace, don't cause drama, just suck it up and move on. Biggest mistake of my life. The night before graduation, Derek called me. "Hey bro, quick question. You know how you're an authorized user on Dad's credit card? Well, we're having some issues with the card limit for Vegas. Mind if we use your Discover card for some of the expenses? We'll totally pay you back." I should mention here that, yes, I'd added my dad as an authorized user on my credit card when I was 19 and stupid. He'd helped me build credit by making some small purchases and paying them off. I forgot he still had the card. "How much are we talking?" I asked. Maybe like 1,500 max? Just for the hotel and some dinners. We'll Venmo you back before the bills are even due." 1,500 for a bachelor party seemed insane, but Derek sounded stressed and I didn't want to be the difficult brother. "Okay, but seriously, you guys need to pay me back quick. I've got student loans starting soon." "Of course, man. You're the best. This is going to be legendary." Legendary. Right. Graduation morning, I woke up in my tiny off-campus apartment feeling empty. My cap and gown were hanging on my door. My parents were in Vegas, and I was getting ready for one of the biggest days of my life completely alone. Well, not completely alone. Tony showed up at 8 a.m. with coffee and fast food breakfast. Rise and shine, college boy. Today we celebrate you becoming a fancy engineer who's too good for us construction peasants. Dude, you know that's not... I'm kidding you, moron. Now get dressed. I invited some people to make sure you have a proper cheering section. Turns out Tony had reached out to basically everyone we knew from high school who still lived in town. By the time we got to campus, I had 12 people there just for me. Tony had even made a sign that said, "Mike is smarter than all of us," in huge letters. The ceremony was at 2 p.m. When they called Michael James Thompson, Tony's crew went absolutely insane. They were whooping, screaming. Someone brought noisemakers. Other families were staring because we were easily the loudest group there. I walked across that stage, gripping my diploma folder so tight my knuckles were white. Smiled for the photographer, shook the dean's hand, did the whole thing. But the whole time I felt this weird hollow feeling in my chest, like I was watching someone else's graduation through a window. After the ceremony, we went to this sports bar that was giving free wings to graduates. I was sitting there in my cap and gown, surrounded by people who actually cared about me, feeling pretty good about life. Then I checked my phone. Venmo notification. Derek Thompson requests $2,847.63. Message. Vegas expenses. Your share. $2,847. Not the $1,500 we'd talked about. My share of expenses for a trip I wasn't even on. I must have made a face because Tony looked over. What's wrong, bro? I showed him the request. Tony read it, blinked a few times, then started laughing. But not happy laughing. The kind of laughing you do when you're so frustrated you can't think straight. Your share, he said slowly. Your share of a bachelor party you're not at because you're at your own graduation that they skipped. I opened my credit card app to see what they'd actually spent. The charges from Vegas. $1,200. Bellagio penthouse suite. 2 nights. $800 VIP entertainment package at some club. $650. Dinner at Gordon Ramsay's restaurant. $400 for helicopter tour of Strip. $300 premium entertainment venue package, plus about $500 in random charges for meals, tips, room service, etc. Total, $3,850. They wanted me to pay almost $3,000 of it. Bro, Tony said, reading over my shoulder. They spent $4,000 in Vegas and want you to cover 3 of it. For a party you weren't invited to, while you were graduating. I tried calling Derek, straight to voicemail, probably because he was recovering in a Vegas hotel room. I tried Dad. Same thing. Finally got through to Mom around 6 p.m. Oh, hi, sweetie. How was graduation? I saw Tony posted some pictures. It looked so nice. Mom, Derek just sent me a Venmo request for almost $3,000. Oh, well, you know how expensive Vegas is. And you're the only one with a good credit limit right now. Don't worry, everyone will pay you back. Everyone will pay you back. Like this was some group expense we'd all agreed to. Mom, I wasn't even there. This was Derek's bachelor party that you all went to instead of my graduation. Honey, don't be dramatic. It's just money, and Derek's only getting married once. Just money. Just like graduation was just a ceremony. That's when something clicked in my brain. These people didn't see me as family. They saw me as a resource. Someone who worked hard and made good money so they could live above their means. I looked at Tony, who was watching this conversation with the expression of someone watching a car accident in slow motion. You know what, Mom? Let me call you back. I hung up and stared at my phone for a minute. All right, Tony said. What are we doing? We? Bro, you think I'm going to miss watching you finally grow a spine? This is going to be better than Netflix. The next morning, I woke up still frustrated, but more clear-headed. Tony had crashed on my couch and was already up making coffee when I stumbled out of my bedroom. Morning, sunshine. Ready to go nuclear on your family? I'm not going nuclear. I'm just investigating. Right. Investigating. That's what we're calling it. I spent the morning going through every single charge on my credit card from the past week. The Vegas expenses were worse than I'd originally thought. The premium entertainment venue package was actually $400, not $300. There was a $200 charge at some place called Legends VIP Experience that I didn't even want to think about. They'd ordered $150 worth of room service at 3 a.m. Derek had bought $80 worth of energy drinks and pain relievers. But the charge that really got me was $120 at a jewelry store for something called Bachelor Bling Chain. Derek had bought himself a gold chain with my money while I was at my graduation. Okay, I told Tony. Now I'm ready to go nuclear. First step, I called the credit card company and reported every single Vegas charge as unauthorized. All of them. The customer service representative was very understanding. So you're saying you weren't in Las Vegas this weekend, sir? Correct. I was at my college graduation in home state. I have about 50 photos and witnesses to prove it. And these charges were made by someone who had access to your account without permission? Yes. Family members who were supposed to borrow the card for small expenses, but went way over the agreed amount. I see. We'll start a fraud investigation immediately and freeze the card. You should see the charges reversed within 5 to 7 business days. Step 2. I changed every password to every shared account we had. Netflix, Spotify, Amazon Prime, the family cell phone plan, all of it. If they wanted to keep using these services, they could pay for their own. Step 3. I removed myself from the family car insurance plan and got my own policy. Cost me an extra $100 a month, but it was worth it for the independence. Tony watched all this from my couch, eating cereal and providing commentary like a sports announcer. And Thompson takes control of the Netflix account. That's gotta hurt. Ashley's been binge-watching reality TV on his dime for 2 years. Now he's going after the insurance. Oh, this is beautiful. Derek's BMW is about to cost him a lot more money. The phone calls started around noon. Ashley first. Oh my God, Mike. Netflix isn't working. Did you change the password? I didn't answer. Derek next. Bro, my card got declined at brunch. What's going on with the credit card? Didn't answer that one either. Then Dad. Michael, call me back immediately. There are some issues with the accounts that we need to discuss. Tony grabbed the phone. Ooh, let me answer this one. Don't you dare. But the voicemails kept coming. By evening, I had 17 missed calls and 11 voicemails. I didn't listen to any of them. Instead, Tony and I drove to our old high school hangout spot, this overlook where you could see the whole city, and made a plan. So what's the endgame here? Tony asked. You want them to apologize? Pay you back? What? I want them to understand that I'm not their personal ATM anymore. I want consequences for treating me like garbage. Okay, but what kind of consequences? Because what you've done so far is just defense. You stopped the bleeding, but you haven't actually hurt them yet. Tony was right. They were probably annoyed about the credit card and the streaming services, but it wasn't really costing them anything major. They'd just find another way to pay for their lifestyle. I need to think bigger, I said. Now you're talking. What do they care about most? I thought about it. Derek cared about his image, his job, his reputation as the successful older brother. Ashley cared about her social media presence and her influencer dreams. My parents cared about looking like the perfect family in their social circle. Their reputations, I said. Tony grinned. Now we're cooking with gas. The next morning, I woke up to a text from Brittany, Derek's fiance. Mike, I heard there was some mix-up with the bachelor party expenses. Derek is super stressed about it. Can you please fix whatever's wrong with your card? The wedding is in 6 weeks and we don't need this drama. Thanks, babe. The audacity of this woman never ceased to amaze me. She was treating a $4,000 theft like a mix-up and asking me to fix it so she wouldn't be inconvenienced. I screenshot the text and sent it to Tony. His response, I'm going to teach you how to destroy someone's entire online presence. Meet me at your place in an hour. Tony showed up with his laptop and a notebook full of what he called digital warfare strategies. See, Tony had been working in social media marketing for a local business, so he actually knew how to do this stuff properly. First rule, he said, don't do anything illegal, or that can be traced back to you directly. We're going to let them destroy themselves. We started with Derek's LinkedIn profile. He'd been posting constantly about his success at the car dealership, sharing motivational quotes about grinding and winning, basically trying to build his personal brand. Tony found Derek's manager's profile on the company website. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to send an anonymous email to the dealership's HR department with some concerning information about Derek's financial decisions. What kind of concerning information? Well, Derek just spent $4,000 on a bachelor party using someone else's credit card without permission. That's fraud, technically, and it shows poor financial judgment. Car dealerships care a lot about their salespeople's reputations. We crafted a careful email that didn't make any false accusations, just stated facts. I'm writing to inform you that Derek Thompson, one of your sales associates, recently charged approximately $4,000 to a family member's credit card without explicit permission for personal expenses in Las Vegas. The charges are currently being disputed as unauthorized. While this may be a personal matter, I thought management should be aware of potential character concerns. Documentation available upon request. We sent it from a throwaway email account. Next target, Ashley's influencer career. Ashley had been trying to build her Instagram following for months, posting about her lifestyle and trying to get brand partnerships. She had about 3,000 followers, mostly friends and family, but she acted like she was a major influencer. Tony's plan was genius. He created several fake Instagram accounts and started leaving comments on all of Ashley's posts, asking pointed questions. How do you afford all these designer clothes without a job? Didn't your brother just graduate college while you were partying in Vegas? Must be nice having family pay for everything. The comments weren't mean or abusive, just accurate. And they started getting likes from Ashley's real followers, which made them more visible. Within 48 hours, Ashley had turned off comments on all her posts. But the masterpiece was what Tony did to my parents' Facebook presence. See, my parents were very active in their church and social circle, always posting about family events, their wonderful children, their blessed life. My mom especially loved sharing those inspirational posts about family values and supporting your children. Tony found every single post my mom had made about supporting your children and being there for family in the past year. Then he created a timeline of exactly what happened. Mom's post from March. A parent's job is to cheer the loudest at their child's achievements. What actually happened? Skipped my graduation for Vegas. Mom's post from January. Family first, always and forever. On what actually happened. Charged $4,000 to my credit card without asking. Tony didn't comment on the post directly. Instead, he sent the timeline to several family friends and church members with a simple message. I thought you should see this comparison. It's heartbreaking what happened to Mike. Word spread fast in their social circle. By the weekend, several people had commented on my mom's posts with things like, "Hope Mike is doing well," and "We missed seeing you at his graduation." The HR email about Derek started working faster than I'd expected. By Thursday, Derek called me directly. "Mike, what the heck did you do? My manager pulled me into his office today asking about financial irregularities. Someone sent them information about Vegas." I let him talk. "Look, I get that you're upset about the money, but trying to get me fired? That's way over the line. I've got a wedding to pay for." "Derek," I said calmly, "I didn't try to get you fired. But if your employer has concerns about you committing credit card fraud, maybe that's something you should have thought about before you committed credit card fraud. It's not fraud. You're my brother. It's a family expense. I wasn't in Vegas, Derek. I was at my graduation, alone, while my family partied with my money." He hung up on me. An hour later, my dad called. "Michael, this has gone far enough. Derek could lose his job over this nonsense. You need to call his manager and explain that this was all a misunderstanding." "It wasn't a misunderstanding, Dad. It was theft." "Don't be dramatic. Family helps family. That's how it works." "Really? Then where was my family at graduation?" Silence. "Dad, let me ask you something. In the past 5 years, what have you done for me that didn't involve me paying for something or doing something for someone else?" More silence. That's what I thought. I hung up. Tony was at my apartment when this conversation happened, and he was practically bouncing off the walls with excitement. "Dude, this is working perfectly. Derek's manager is asking questions. Ashley's Instagram comments are turned off. Your mom's church friends are wondering why they missed your graduation. Think it's enough? Oh no, we're just getting started. The real revenge hasn't even begun yet." That weekend, Derek's situation at work got worse. Apparently, one of his coworkers had seen the Vegas posts on social media and put 2 and 2 together. When Derek came into work Monday morning, he was called into HR again. I heard about all this through my cousin Jake, who works in the same industry and knows people at Derek's dealership. "Bro," Jake texted me, "Derek's boss is upset. Apparently, Derek had been bragging about his Vegas weekend to customers and coworkers, showing pictures of the penthouse suite and the helicopter ride. When they found out he paid for it with someone else's credit card, they started questioning his judgment about finances. Car sales is all about trust, and Derek just proved he can't be trusted with money." Derek got suspended pending a full investigation. Ashley's influencer dreams were also falling apart. The fake comments had attracted real criticism, and several of her actual followers had started asking legitimate questions about her lifestyle. She'd lost 200 followers in a week and had to make her account private. But the best part was my parents' social situation. Tony had sent that timeline to exactly the right people. My mom's book club, several families from church, and my dad's golf buddies. By Sunday, half their social circle knew they'd skipped my graduation for a Vegas bachelor party and stuck me with the bill. My mom called me Sunday evening, crying. Michael, people are asking me why we weren't at your graduation. I don't know what to tell them. You could try the truth, Mom. The truth makes us look terrible. Maybe because what you did was terrible. We're family. You're supposed to forgive family. Family is supposed to show up for each other. You chose Derek's party over my graduation, then tried to make me pay for it. That's not what family does. Please, Mike. People are talking. It's embarrassing. For the first time in my life, I didn't care about my mother's embarrassment more than my own feelings. You should have thought about that before you decided my college graduation wasn't important enough to attend. 3 weeks later, I got a wedding invitation in the mail. Derek and Brittany, June 25th. Some fancy venue outside the city. There was also a note from Derek. Mike, I know things have been weird between us lately, but you're my brother, and I want you at my wedding. Let's put this behind us. BTW, we're having money issues because of work stuff, so we had to ask all the groomsmen to pay for their own tuxes and hotel rooms. Hope that's okay. D. Money issues because of work stuff. Right. Tony read the invitation over my shoulder. Are you going? Heck no. Good. But I have a better idea. Let's make sure it's a wedding they'll never forget. See, Tony had done some digging on the venue. It was one of those places that cared a lot about their reputation. High-end weddings, corporate events, the works. They did not want drama or bad publicity. Tony crafted another anonymous email to the venue's events coordinator. I wanted to inform you that the groom for the Thompson-Martinez wedding on June 25th has recently been involved in credit card fraud allegations and is currently suspended from his job pending investigation. While this may not affect your services directly, I thought you should be aware in case there are payment issues. Documentation available if needed. We also sent similar heads-up messages to the caterer, the florist, and the DJ. We didn't lie or exaggerate anything. Derek really was suspended. There really was a fraud investigation. These were just facts. But wedding vendors don't like risk. They started requiring payment in full upfront instead of their usual 50% down payment. The wedding was supposed to cost about $30,000. Derek and Brittany suddenly needed to come up with the full amount immediately, while Derek was suspended without pay. I heard through Jake that they were scrambling to borrow money from anyone who would lend it. They even asked Brittany's parents, who apparently laughed and said, "You made your bed." 2 weeks before the wedding, Derek called me. "Mike, I need help." "Oh, now you need help. Look, I know I messed up with the Vegas thing. I'll pay you back, I swear. But right now, I need a loan for the wedding. Just $10,000? I'll pay you back as soon as I get my job back. When are you planning to pay me back the $4,000 from Vegas?" "That's different. That was what, Derek? Not stealing?" "It wasn't stealing. You're my brother. And you're mine. But you didn't seem to remember that when you skipped my graduation." "Fine. I'm sorry I missed your graduation. There, I said it. Are you happy?" "No, Derek. I'm not happy. You missed the most important day of my life so far. Stuck me with the bill for your party, and now you want me to loan you money for your wedding. Do you understand how insane that is? Mike, please, I'm desperate here. The vendors are demanding full payment up front. Brittany is freaking out. Her friends are all going to be there, and if we have to cancel, you should have thought about that before you committed fraud." "It's not fraud. Derek, you used my credit card to pay for expenses I didn't agree to while I was at an event you chose not to attend. That's literally fraud." He hung up on me again. The next week was chaos. Through Jake and other family members, I heard that Derek and Brittany were fighting constantly. They'd had to downgrade basically everything. Cheaper venue, cheaper food, cheaper flowers, smaller guest list. Brittany was apparently losing her mind about having a budget wedding instead of the Instagram perfect event she'd planned. 3 days before the wedding, my mom called me sobbing. "Michael, please help your brother. He's talking about calling off the wedding entirely. Brittany's parents are threatening to pull out completely. This is going to ruin him. Mom, Derek ruined himself when he decided to steal from me." "Don't call it stealing. It's not stealing. What would you call it, Mom?" "Derek took my credit card without permission and spent $4,000 on a party I wasn't invited to while I was graduating college. Alone. Because my family chose his party over my achievement. We made a mistake, okay? We should have gone to your graduation. But this is Derek's wedding. It's supposed to be the happiest day of his life. And my graduation was supposed to be one of the happiest days of mine. But you decided Derek's party was more important. Please, Mike, I'm begging you. Just this once, help us out. We'll pay you back. We'll make it right. Mom, stop. Just stop. I'm not giving Derek money for his wedding. I'm not fixing his problems. I'm not going to keep being the family ATM while you all treat me like garbage." "But we're family. Family shows up for each other, Mom. Family doesn't steal. Family doesn't skip graduation for a bachelor party. You taught me what family really means. Just not the way you intended. I hung up and immediately blocked her number. The wedding happened, but it was apparently a disaster. I didn't go, obviously, but Tony has a friend who knows Brittany's sister, and the stories got back to us. Cheap venue that looked nothing like the Instagram photos Brittany had been posting, grocery store flowers, cash bar, a DJ who showed up late and didn't have half the songs they'd requested, about half the original guest list, since they'd had to cut people to save money. But the best part? Derek's groomsmen had all bailed at the last minute. Turns out, asking people to pay for their own tuxes and hotel rooms while you're suspended for financial misconduct isn't a great look. Derek ended up with 2 groomsmen instead of 6. Brittany was apparently crying through half the ceremony. The whole thing was over by 9 p.m. instead of going until midnight like they'd planned. I spent that Saturday playing golf with Tony and some other friends, having the best day I'd had in months. 2 weeks after the wedding, Derek's employment situation got worse. The dealership finished their investigation and decided they didn't want the liability of keeping him on. He got fired. Brittany, who'd been planning to quit her part-time retail job after the wedding to focus on building her brand, suddenly found herself as the primary breadwinner in their marriage. Spoiler alert, she was not happy about this. Jake told me they were fighting constantly, and that Derek was applying for jobs but getting rejected because word had gotten around about the credit card thing. A month after the wedding, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. It was Ashley. Mike? It's Ashley. Please don't hang up. What do you want, Ashley? I need help. Like, really need help. I'm about to get evicted from my apartment, and Mom and Dad can't help because they're having money problems too. And Derek obviously can't help, and I don't know what else to do. Get a job. I have a job. I'm working at Target now, but it's only part-time and minimum wage, and I can't afford my rent and car payment and everything. This was actually shocking news. Ashley working retail? The girl who'd called herself an entrepreneur for 3 years? Why are you calling me, Ashley? Because you're the only one in the family who has his stuff together, okay? And I know we've been awful to you, and I know we don't deserve it, but I'm scared, Mike. I might have to move back in with Mom and Dad, and they're barely talking to each other since the wedding disaster, and everything is falling apart. For the first time since this whole thing started, Ashley sounded genuinely humble. Not entitled, not demanding, just scared and desperate. Ashley, why should I help you? Give me one good reason. Because I'm sorry? And because I know we screwed up? Look, I didn't even go to your graduation, and that was terrible of me. I was so caught up in the Vegas drama that I didn't even think about what it meant to you. And then all the credit card stuff happened, and I just went along with everyone saying you were being dramatic. But you weren't. You were right to be upset. This was more self-awareness than I'd ever heard from Ashley. Keep talking. Mike, we treated you terribly. For years. You were always the one who had money when we needed it, always the one who didn't cause drama, always the responsible one. And instead of appreciating that, we just took advantage of it. Of you. She was crying now. Derek's marriage is falling apart because Brittany realized she married someone with no money and no job. Mom and Dad are barely speaking because people at church keep asking about your graduation, and they don't know what to say. Everyone's miserable, and it's because we did this to ourselves. And now you want me to fix it. No, I mean, yes, I need help with rent, but I'm not expecting you to fix everything. I know you probably hate us all now. I wanted you to know that I get it now. I get why you did what you did, and I'm sorry. This was not the conversation I'd expected to have with Ashley ever, let alone today. How much do you need for rent? $800. I know that's a lot, but Ashley, $800 is nothing compared to the $4,000 Derek stole from me. I know. And that was so wrong. God, I can't believe we asked you to pay for a trip you weren't even on while you were graduating college alone. How did we think that was okay? She was full on sobbing now. Please, Mike, I'll pay you back. I'll get a second job if I have to. I'll do whatever you want. Just please don't let me end up homeless or back with Mom and Dad. I can't handle the way they're acting right now. I looked at Tony, who'd been listening to this whole conversation with his mouth hanging open. Ashley, I'll make you a deal. Anything. I'll pay your rent for 3 months. That gives you time to find a full-time job or get a second job. In return, you're going to post something on social media. What kind of something? An apology. A real one. Explaining what really happened with Vegas and graduation. Taking responsibility for how the family treated me and apologizing publicly. Mike, that's going to be really embarrassing. Not as embarrassing as getting evicted. Long pause. Okay, yeah. I'll do it. And Ashley, if you ever need help again in the future, you ask me like a normal person. No guilt trips, no family obligation stuff. Just, hey Mike, I'm in trouble. Can you help me? And I'll consider it based on how you treat me, not because we share DNA. Deal. God, Mike, thank you so much. Thank you so. I promise I'll make this right. 2 days later, Ashley posted a long Instagram story that basically aired all our family's dirty laundry. She explained the whole situation, how they'd skipped my graduation for Vegas, charged it to my credit card without real permission, and then acted like I was the problem when I called them out on it. She owned up to her part in it and apologized not just to me, but to everyone who'd been wondering what really happened. The post got shared around our hometown like wildfire. By the next day, half the people I went to high school with had seen it. But more importantly, Ashley kept her word. She got a second job waiting tables and paid me back within 6 months. Derek and Brittany, on the other hand, were still a mess. Their marriage lasted 8 months after the wedding before Brittany filed for divorce. Apparently, being married to an unemployed guy with a reputation for financial misconduct wasn't as fun as she'd thought it would be. Derek ended up moving back in with my parents and taking a job at a different car lot for way less money. Last I heard, he was still trying to rebuild his reputation and save money for a decent apartment. My parents? They eventually started reaching out through other family members, sending messages about wanting to rebuild our relationship and put this all behind us. But I wasn't interested in putting anything behind us. I was interested in building a new life where people treated me with respect. I moved to a different city 6 months later, got a great engineering job with a construction company, and surrounded myself with people who actually value me as a person instead of as a resource. Tony still calls my old family the parasites, but now he says it with less anger and more pity. They had a good thing going, he says, and they blew it because they couldn't appreciate what they had. Ashley visits me a few times a year now. We have a decent relationship based on mutual respect instead of family obligation. She's doing well, working full-time, living within her means, and she never asks me for money without a clear plan for paying it back. Sometimes she tells me about Derek or my parents, but mostly I don't ask. They made their choices, and they're living with the consequences. As for me, I've never been happier. Turns out, when you stop letting people walk all over you, life gets a lot more enjoyable.